Hello, Dr. Mani. Welcome to Power Women Wellness. How are you?
I am very good and I'm glad to be here.
Yes, we'll get started with tell us who you are, what do you do, what brought you into the medical field? I love to hear the journey.
Okay, all right. So my name is Mani, Dr. Mani Kukreja, and I am the CEO of this practice called LivAgeWell. It's an integrative health and wellness practice where I help my clients to reset and optimize their health, in every aspect, gut health, skin issues, hormonal health, their overall metabolic health, and so that they can live up to their full potential. So that's what I do. And uh, it's quite fulfilling. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I did my MD. As far as my career is concerned, I did my MD, and after doing my MD, I realized that it's just a very traditional approach. It's a very bandage approach to the medical system, to the healthcare system, with the help of pharmaceutical. But that's not what I always wanted. I always wanted to study prevention side,
Yeah.
the preventative approach, or totally eradicating the root cause of disease. So then, after doing my MD, I went ahead and did my master's public health from Tulane University, New Orleans, and I double major in clinical epidemiology and clinical research so that I could study the prevention side and the progression side of the disease rather than the very traditional disease symptom approach. After doing my MPH, I went ahead and did 12 years of clinical research where I realized when I saw and when I, deep dived into all those data and research, I realized that, when a person has a disease or the the basically the path, the disease progression is so steep, but if that patient is equipped with enough knowledge, awareness, and if he or she is equipped with enough data, knowledge and wisdom of how to take care of herself from lifestyle point of view and from, basically, you know, optimization point of view, health optimization. If he or she is equipped with all those tools, you can really take control of all those diseases.
I love
So
that.
that's deep, basically. And on personal level also, I myself suffered from Hashimoto's thyroiditis,
Mm,
which none of my friends, physician, or any other expert could actually figure out what's going on, but all the time my TPO antibodies and anti-thyroid globulin antibodies were on fire. They were like thousands, So
yeah.
it was just hard. I mean, none of the very experienced experts could actually figure out. They could not control. And then I just realized that taking the holistic approach to lifestyle is the best way. I mean, taking care of your sugar, your sleep, your hormones,
Yeah.
every single aspect of your health optimization helps to control your autoimmune disease.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now I've been dealing it myself without help of any other physician in that field. But I'm in remission. Remission means I do not have any bad flare of symptoms for last 6 to 7 years,
Mm.
which makes me happy and which makes me think that it is all doable from lifestyle
Yeah.
point of view.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. I'm curious,
go
actually,
ahead.
I've always wondered why is thyroid antibodies not tested normally? Like so many patients like have hypothyroidism, and if I ask like, do you know if it's like autoimmune based? And they're like, no, and like they've never been tested. Is it because that the treatment doesn't change? Like it's ultimately the same pharmaceutical? Is that why?
That's very right. First of all, medical approach is doctors and the expert thinks the treatment doesn't change. The treatment is still your
Okay.
levothyroxine
Okay.
and those kind of thyroxine supplements. And second, also because of the insurance, they don't encourage all those extra testing,
Mm.
because of the
Okay.
finance and all that, the money aspect. So those are the two reasons which goes hand in hand, and that
Mm.
kind of just let doctors kind of not even go that route. But I think, I'm a very visual person. I think from very visual point of view that, unless you see your test, unless you know what's diagnosis, I mean, whatever gets measured gets managed is the theory here.
Mm. Oh, I love
If you
that.
don't see it on lab testing, how would you ever know that I am just a simple hypothyroid patient or low, metabolism and high fatigue kind of, symptoms, and I can be just managed with levothyroxine or any kind of thyroxine supplementation, or if I'm autoimmune
Yeah.
Hashimoto's, it's always good to know, because then I can control a lot more. I know that I need to manage on my sleep hygiene. I need to manage on my sugar. I need to really take care of my gut, Then
Yes.
I'm very highly sensitive to so many other aspects that I need to be careful and watching for. So I
Exactly.
think it's always good to know on your lab testing. And that's why, my clients go through quite extensive lab testing, just not the insurance based, and they're okay. I mean, even if you have to spend your own money, that's okay. It's not too much. Nowadays, there's so much competition.
Yeah.
The Quest and, LabCorp, they just provide you with all those basic extensive testing at a very reasonable rate.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Is there one, because I do love that you focus on like longevity because that's the goal. I'm like, I mean, of course we want to live longer, but it's also like the quality of life. And even as I've watched my mom struggle through kidney disease and her heart attack she had a couple weeks ago, I was like, that's just further like why I'm so passionate about growing older. And I don't think that as we get older, we get worse and worse. I don't believe that. I believe we can age so beautifully, so healthy. And I want to be like with my great grandkids being still able to run around with them. Like that's like a goal. And so is there anything that you do in your mornings that really helps set you up for like good health, longevity, your non-negotiables? You have to do it every morning. What's in your morning routine that is health based?
Absolutely. That's like a whole arsenal of tools, but I
I love
love
it.
to, first of all, I want to say that, and especially the kind of work that I'm working on right now is the health optimization. I've never believed that aging is what kills you, and aging is not the cause of your death. I mean, there are many age-related diseases which are accompanied along with aging, which actually causes increased in morbidity and mortality. And those all age related diseases are preventable. They can be
Mm,
prevented. It's just that you need to know what to do. And if you are managing your life in the right way, most optimal way, you can take control of your health completely. And I'll talk about the aging also. So that's why I never say that it's anti-aging. It's all about health optimization.
yeah.
It's basically living optimally, managing your health totally biooptimally. Because there's a concept that, after the age of 30, there's a steep decline, and where you see the decline, or there's a shift
Yeah.
towards the, in the declination side, that, that your health and your performance decline basically
Yeah.
after the age of 30, right?
Honestly, and
And
I swear I believe that it's because of our 20s and like all the
yes,
things like no sleep, high stress, high caffeine,
yeah,
not
yeah,
eating, we're in
yes,
college, we're hustling, we're sleeping when you're dead, like we're doing all these things. And I think that's why the special 30 age is because you
right,
have a decade of like really bad habits for most
yes,
people. And then it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
boom, hit you in the face.
I couldn't agree more. Very well said. And so that decline in health and performance that people call, that term that you define, I mean, that time of your life, we call it midlife, but that's
Hmm.
not how it should be. In fact, if you have all those right tools to optimize your health, that midlife can be your peak life, right? You
Mm.
can live with peak performance, better energy, more focus, healthy aging, and better body composition
Yeah.
and less body fat. If you can live with all those parameters, that's what you call healthy aging, so that you can enjoy the later part of your life
Yeah.
with all the benefits that
Yeah.
you want to enjoy with your daughter, with your granddaughters, with your kids and grandkids. And
Yeah.
so that's what how it should be, because all these aging scientists, the way the data and research has been laid is, okay, there are many scientists who started to define aging. They said, okay, aging is inevitable, but that concept is no more
Mm.
accepted, because they said, okay, aging is embedded is coded in your genes. But that, once you've gone through your reproductive age, once you've done serve your purpose of reproduction, you start to decline. That was the
Yeah.
old style of defining aging by the aging scientists. But that's, if that had been true, we all would have been aging with the same pace. But that's not
Yeah.
right? I mean, we all have different pace of aging. It
Yeah.
depends what are your aging hygienes.
Yeah.
But then other scientists said, no, this is completely environmental toxins based and your lifestyle based. In lifestyle based mean your nutrition, your exercise, and your sleep. And then toxins means there are two kind of toxins, environmental stressors and the mental stressor. One is the mental stress, day-to-day stress. Environmental stressors are all those toxins all around us, in heavy metal toxicity, in water,
Yeah.
phthalates, parabens in skincare, and all these pesticides and
Yeah.
UV radiations, antibiotics, all those causes so much toxins. But then they all came to a consensus, and then they said, okay, it's only 20% genetic and 80% all lifestyle related, which
Thank
makes sense.
goodness. I mean, thank
Thank
goodness,
goodness.
because I'm like I am like an Enneagram 8. Like I love control if I can.
Yes,
And to
right.
think that like we are just like, oh, it's just our genetics, we have no control over it, that drives me
Yeah,
nuts.
yes, yeah,
So
that would
yes.
drive me nuts as well. So 80% environmental, that means that's doable. We can
Yeah.
control it, which is really a good news.
Yes, yes.
So that's why, I mean, I think, and with the advancement, of knowledge, awareness, therapies, there are so many ways that you can actually optimize your health in the best way. I mean, nowadays we have, like, okay, photomodulation, red light therapy,
Yeah.
sauna, and then alternate heat and cold therapies, lasers, PRP, stem cell therapy, hormone therapy, peptide therapy, which all falls together, and supplementation definitely, which
Yeah.
all falls together in that toolbox, and
Yeah.
then you use that tools out of that toolbox to optimize in the best way possible.
Yeah.
So and to your question, I'm sorry, I just went to the basic side of definition.
I love it.
uh, so I start my day, Leona. It's such and I am very passionate about every aspect, from health aspect, from my exercise point of view, I'm like fanatic, from my skincare. It's all fanatism over here, how I start my day, my very first thing to do in the day is, I think hydration is the key. And not only
Mm,
just a simple hydration, I believe in the meaningful hydration, more scientific hydration. You start your day with water, with some lemon in it, and with some Celtic salt, because Celtic salt is a natural way of consuming all kind of minerals. And
mm.
it is delicious, So I start with this concoction, and definitely after this first glass of water, I start with my supplementation. The very first
Nice.
supplementation that I do in the morning is NAD and my thyroid medication. And I believe, I mean, 70 to 80% of women, all of us are basically having some component of hypothyroidism.
Yeah.
And some of them are and these symptoms get unnoticed most of the time, because we
So
think that,
subtle.
okay, it's so subtle, and people just kind of mix it up with aging symptoms. Okay, we are aging, and that's why we have, more fatigue, less energy, mental fog, brain fog. So, but I think it's always good to be tested. I mean, I have a daughter who is 15 years of age, and I get her tested for thyroid. Definitely, I think this is one, nothing else. Once in a year, I get her tested with her thyroid hormones, because
Nice.
it's very important, because they go through that puberty age, and then you are kind of just growing. It's always good to know, and especially when I know particularly that I am suffering from hypothyroidism of chronic nature. My mom
Yeah.
is, and I have a family history, so it's always good to basically be very careful, rather than
Yeah.
having to suffer later.
It's never too early.
So never, and then yeah, never too early. So yeah, my levothyroxine, and then I kind of just mix that levothyroxine with the armored thyroid, because that combination
Mm,
works better for me, rather than just taking my thyroid supplements, because that armored thyroid is a peptide which is more human derived,
yeah.
so it's like a synthetic, sorry, it's a synthetic peptide from pig, um,
Yeah.
a big thyroid tissue, So those two in combination, they just work too good for me. And then I go for my exercise, and I, take care of, and we'll talk about whatever questions you have later. Yeah, but that's how
Yeah.
my day starts.
I love that. What is your exercise of choice? What's your go-to?
Goodness, for me, I'm quite extensive exerciser, but we'll talk about general population. When my clients, I always say start slow.
Yeah.
If you're not exercising, if you're sedentary, just start to walk. If
Yeah.
you're loving walking, then start to jog and then start to run, just go slow and then decide whatever suits you. If you like to do high, if you love high intensity, if you like running, do that. But my exercise routine, Lahana, is more like a combination of both high intensity exercise for
Okay.
endurance purpose and then definitely resistance training for,
Yeah.
body composition purpose. Yeah, because especially at this age, I'm 51 and I feel that, that stage of perimenopause and
Yeah.
menopause, you really need to be working on your bone density as well as muscle
Yeah.
building.
Yeah, yeah, I love strength training. That has always been my love. I would say this year has been like my last year, I guess, would be my first to like, okay, what do I also enjoy too? So like I love strength training. I do enjoy it, but I'm like, I want to spice it up a little bit. So decided to add in some Pilates. And then we also started playing pickleball last year. And that's so fun. I know that kind of started off as like an older person sport,
Yeah.
but no, now it's like everyone loves it. I'm like, it's so fun. I don't know if have you ever played?
Yeah, no, pickleball is amazing. Very
Yeah.
exciting. I mean, I love that too. I love to play tennis as well because
Oh,
just
nice.
like, I mean, you said very right. I mean, some things which you do in a very consistent manner can be boring, especially when it comes to
Yeah.
exercise. So it's just like, spicing it up,
Yeah.
just keep adding different activity from time to time and
Yeah.
alternate them. That's the way to go. And then you just become, I think exercise is addicting. People who love it,
Yeah.
they are addicted to it. It's just that, that stimulation of those neurotransmitters,
Yeah.
it kind of just get you fixated that, okay,
Yeah.
I really got to go do it,
Yeah.
it's very encouraging. Yeah.
I feel like with strength training too, you see so
You
much
see,
change. And
definitely.
that in itself is people like, how do you stay motivated? I'm like, I see what I've grown. Like I've grown my glutes. I've grown different muscles that I'm like, I don't want to stop because I also don't want to go back to where I was. I want to maintain, I want to keep growing and building strong muscle. And so that in and of itself is such a motivator for me. It's just like, man, I've done so much so far. Don't give up. Like don't stop now.
It is definitely. And that's what I tell my clients, and everybody knows about. There's not even a single system that in your body that doesn't get benefit out of exercise. Your
Yes.
cardiovascular system, your cognition improves, your metabolic system, like, your insulin and glucose metabolism
Yes.
are very well regulated because of this. Your immunity is much better. You
Yeah.
have low risk for cancer, and your I mean, cognition, everything just gets better and better with exercise. Exercise, if you're exercising, it reduces your all-cause mortality by 20 to 30%.
Yeah.
And there are, I mean, I think in exercise field has the max amount of research and data. And
Yeah.
not even a single data actually signifies that exercise is bad for you.
Yeah.
Exercise is all good. I mean, there is no other anti-aging medicine that works as good as exercise. It's elixir
Yeah.
of youth, basically, right?
Yeah.
Because if you see, I mean, what's the concept basically? I know, like, okay, you're exercising, you're basically causing those tears in the microscopic tears in the muscles, right? But when you exercise, which is almost like a hormesis or intentional
Yeah.
stress. So when you have that intentional stress on the muscles, your pro-inflammatory genes are upregulated, and they tell your body to go ahead and then build more muscle to recover. So then because of those tears, which is almost like an inflammation of muscles, there's a injury, your body detects it as an injury. So then your body produces all those repair genes to
Yeah.
repair those muscles. And then those new muscle cells are more youthful, much more stronger. So you see that muscle mass, that you see
Yeah.
that muscle mass is improved and increased. I mean, the whole body composition is actually much better
Yeah.
because of exercise. Your bones are
Yeah.
better, your bones are more strong, your density is much stronger, muscle mass is improved, and your fat is reduced. So
Yeah.
the whole composition gets so balanced,
Yeah, for sure. I
Plus
do
also,
love the moment or
yeah,
the increase of walking. I feel like lately that's been a
yeah.
huge like trend of making sure. I think studies even show like 8,000 steps a day lowers dramatically like the all cause mortality and stuff. And I think that's so fascinating because we are meant to like be moving and active. And like even if like it's great, yes, you want to get your workout in, but then if you're sedentary all day, like we should be moving. That's why like I have a standing desk and a treadmill. So if I do have to work, if I'm again I have to be on my computer, I'm still able to like move my body. So I love that movement that's happening right now is everyone's like, okay, how can I add more subtle movement into my day and not be a sedentary? And I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And there is actually a recent study. I don't know, because it was very exciting for me to read. It's called VILPA, VILPA. The full form of that abbreviation is Vigorous Intensity, Lifestyle, Physical um, Activity. So vigorous intensity, lifestyle, physical activity. So, people who are like CEOs, executive, who do not have time, but at the same
Yeah.
time, they are really concerned about their health and exercise.
Yeah.
So, so the concept in this is basically, if you're exercising 1 to 3 minutes, 3 times a day, and it is a very high intensity exercise, so that you increase your heart rate to 80% of your max heart rate. So your heart rate, how to calculate, everybody knows, your 220 minus your age gives you the MHR, max heart rate. So if you can bring your heart rate to that level so that it can match up with the 80% of your max heart rate, so it's a very high intensity exercise. And if you can do that 3 times in the day for 3 minutes each, that improves your overall health, reduces your all-cause mortality to easily 30 to 40%. And
Wow.
there's a beautiful study done. I mean, and it was like highly indicative that exercise has such great benefits. Even for people. I mean, and the good thing is, just like you said, you can see the visible difference
Yes.
in your glutes and in your leg muscles, in
Yes.
your calf muscles, and which kind of just encourage you even more to do more.
Yeah.
So not even it's great. And even if you see cognition benefits or the brain benefits, we know that, okay, exercise, we do exercise, what is produced? Lactate is produced in our muscles.
Yeah.
This lactate, when it is in very high quantity, it is bad. Maybe it causes the stagnation of lactate is bad. But when it's in an appropriate quantity, this lactate is so good for us, because this lactate, when it goes, because lactate is a fuel for your brain cells. So your brain cells actually eat on those lactates, and it's a fuel for them, because of which they wire and fire with each other. Because of
Mm.
wiring and firing of these neurons or the brain cells, your ability, I mean, your neuroplasticity is, there's a decreased risk of neuroplasticity. And we all know that, as we age, because of aging, the neuroplasticity risk is increased. So we need to be doing something to reduce that, because
Yeah.
neuroplasticity is really bad, because that's a cause for Alzheimer's. That's a
Yeah.
cause, because when your brain becomes plastic and rigid, you your cognition becomes poor, and your adaptability to learn new things is also reduced. So you don't
Mm.
want your brain to become neuroplastic, you want it to be flexible all the time. And
Yeah.
for your brain to be flexible, you want all these brain cells or neurons to be wiring and firing with each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in order to be performing that function, they need food, they need
Yeah.
fuel, and lactate acts as a
Yeah.
fuel.
Outside of like exercise, and I know it's so hard to choose one, but if you had to choose one, like sauna, red light, like the other stuff, so outside of food and exercise, what would be like your like thing that you choose? Like if you had to choose one, which I know they all serve different purposes, but do you have one?
Yeah. I think if you give me those choices and tell me to choose one, it's tough, but I will choose sauna, because I
Okay, yeah.
think it's a beautiful combination with exercise. Because once you've exercised, you've called all those very acute inflammation in their muscles. And now, what you want, if I go for sauna right after exercise, what I'm really doing is that I'm clearing off my toxins. It's such a
Hmm.
detoxify. I mean, with the sauna, all the sweat, you know,
Yeah.
you kind of just get rid of all those toxins. You get rid of all heavy metal toxins. You get rid of all the bad toxins and oxidative byproducts, because
Yeah.
you've just done your exercise, you've caused inflammation. Because of inflammation, I know that there are some toxins or some
Yeah.
byproducts that have been accumulated. And if you do sauna right after that, you get rid of that. So
Yeah.
you've done all good benefits,
I know. I love a sauna. I love
Yeah.
a sauna. I've always feel
But
great.
there's a beautiful tip. I mean, if you do sauna, people who do quite a lot of sauna, if you do that, make sure that you are supplementing on magnesium. I know that, okay,
Mm,
people, I mean, there's a regular dose of 400 milligram of magnesium supplementation every day required for general adults. But if you do sauna, you need to be really careful, that because then
Mm,
you're losing your minerals and you're losing all those. So you need to compensate for that
for
loss.
sure.
You make sure that you're taking your supplements of
For
magnesium.
sure. For sure. What are your thoughts on people adding in like cold plunging during the day, especially for women? So I've heard like I can't do it. I just don't like it. I don't enjoy it. But what are your thoughts on the cold plunging?
I love that. I know it's just hard to be basically sitting in a tub of iced water, not more than a minute. Plus, also it feels like for me, it feels like a chore to first go ahead and do all the prep and then go and sit in it. So what I do is just when I'm taking shower, I kind of just mimic the same activity in my shower.
Mm,
Do extreme hot and extreme cold, extreme hot, extreme cold, because that gives you, if not same benefits, but pretty equivalent benefits,
interesting.
because this ice cold water or ice cold exposure is so good for your hormone optimization. Not only that, it also helps you to lose that bad fat, and also the subcutaneous fat. It helps you to basically lose fat, really, really good for your brain. So,
Mm.
good for your immunity, everything. I mean, I don't know how much do you get to do. I mean, the ice cold. Uh,
I can do my arms and my legs
yeah,
just fine. But
yeah,
I can't like once it hits my core, I'm just like, I can't. And I'm also just not as interested that I don't want to like, oh, like
yeah.
I mentally want to overcome. I don't care. I honestly don't care.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I do all
yeah,
these other
same
things. I do
thing.
red light and sauna. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like too there's more women that are talking about, I think like more like Chinese medicine of like,
Mhm.
being in our reproductive um time of life and our womb and like the warmth, the idea of us being
Mhm.
warm. So that's why like sauning like does well, but a lot of women just like are so physically resistant towards like cold, super cold therapy. We have an easy like mod tub, and so it's simple. Like my husband does it all the
Yeah,
time, no problems. I mean, he's in there for way longer. And again, yeah, I can't, I'm also just not interested in overcoming that. So I'd be like,
yeah,
I've done the shower. That's a little bit less like intense, I think,
yeah,
for me,
yeah.
but yeah,
That's me too. I mean, I feel okay, less intense is okay. If I be more consistent, that's much better
yeah,
than being I mean, than being just irregular and just doing it sometime. I mean, this is
yes,
something which is in my own hand. I mean, I take shower every day. You can basically expose yourself to extreme
yeah,
cold and extreme hot, but in the shower water.
yeah,
But doing basically immersing yourself in the ice cold tub is kind of just a task for me, and then I have to
yeah,
basically explain I mean, it's a lot to explain your mind and
yeah,
mindset, to go
yeah.
ahead and do.
For sure. And as we wrap up too, what would be some of your favorite like mental health tools for the high stress woman? Just I think all of us know, I talked about this on Instagram. I think all of us know how stress is bad for our health, but I just don't think sometimes we realize how much it actually impacts us. And it's just crazy to think like, oh, I'm just stressed out about work and it's impacting my gut health and hormones and all these things, but it really does. And I think too, in this society, we're not, I don't know, maybe some of us are addicted to stress hormone, but we almost don't even realize that we're stressed anymore because it becomes our normal. And so like again, I love the movement of I'm seeing more on social media of like people like wanting to slow down. And that's why honestly I got chickens. So that helped me slow down so much, made me go outside more and spend more time with chickens and also get fresh eggs. But I love that people are wanting to slow down and get out of this like hustle culture that was very prominent, I would say, in the early like 2000s. But do you have anything that you do that has helped a lot with mental health and reducing stress that you have incorporated into your routine?
So yeah, the mental stress, the normal day-to-day stress is unavoidable. It's gonna be there. We are all human living life, so it's
Yeah.
gonna be there. But the best way to hunker down, you have to think about it, what suits you. I mean, because just like you said, anything that kind of just breaks down that cycle of, hustle culture.
Yep.
Anything that you like, any hobby, do anything. If you love to play pickleball so that you can get off that whole day kind of constant stress,
Yes.
so that I mean, any activity or any hobby that you love, do that, because I know there are many scientists and experts in biohacking field. Okay, breath work, meditation, I
Yeah.
know, but I mean, sometimes even for me to think that I have to go sit and do the meditation and breath work, that itself becomes a stress for
Yes.
me. because I'm a type A personality. I do not have to sit and do the breath work and meditation. Thinking about that becomes a stress. So I'm not going to do
Yes.
that. But, walking for 20 minutes or 25 minutes just on the trail, or hiking, because when
Yeah.
I'm not thinking that I'm really doing it, that gives me uh,
Yeah.
that stress-free kind of
Yeah.
just,
Yep.
attitude. So I like that. So basically it's more on yourself, what suits you. For me, walking lets me think about, it gives me time to think about where I plan for rest of my day and for
Yeah.
rest of my, whole week. So for me, that's more like a break
Yeah.
for, that kind
Yeah.
of whole cycle. So definitely breath work helps you, sitting in the sauna and ice cold water, all these things are basically good for but I think starting from the basic is always needed. Thinking how to optimize your sleep cycle or circadian
Mm,
rhythm is more important, because if you have slept well, that's more important
yeah.
for, that stress, rather than not having to sleep enough and going for a class of breath work, that is
For
not right.
sure.
So basics of sleep hygiene, sleep optimization is needed. Think about the food that you eat and then go for a walk,
Yeah.
where anything that you can break your cycle of, whole day cycle of, that working, whatever suits you. So that is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And I think supplementation of vitamin D really helps, because that's one of the most important micronutrients that we need for every single cell functioning,
Yeah.
for your hormonal optimization, for your immunity, for your peptide formation, for your muscle synthesis, for your neurotransmitters, for everything. I think vitamin D supplementation is very, very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And where can people find you? I know that you have a book coming out. When is it coming out? When should we
So
expect it?
hopefully in August, that's what I'm thinking. But it just takes more time than all the
Nice.
time expects, more time than expecting. So I'm thinking by around August end, my book should be coming out, and people can find me
Yay.
on my Instagram, where I'm very active, and my Instagram is dr_Mani, MANI_D.KUKREJA. People can find me on the Instagram, or they can get to my email through my website. My website is livagewell.net. They can always shoot me an email and get
I
in
love
touch
it.
with me.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today and talking all about like all these little lifestyle habits that we can do to promote longevity and health optimization.
It was lovely to be here. Lovely talking to you. Bye bye.